Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video in our Remote Routes mini-series. Today we're in Santiago, the capital city of Chile in South America, and we're flying on board a Lan Chile Airbus A320 from here in Santiago down to Mount Pleasant in the Falkland Islands. At the time of recording this video and researching Lan Chile's schedule in January 2022, they flew this flight once a week between Santiago and the Falkland Islands on a Wednesday via the southern Chilean city of Punta Arenas. With this being a two-part flight between Santiago and Mount Pleasant, it's going to be a two-part episode as well. The first flight taking us on this first sector between Santiago and Punta Arenas. And of course, with it being summer in the southern hemisphere, I'm recording this flight in mid-January 2022 using live weather from Active Sky. This first sector of the flight down to the Falkland Islands is pretty straightforward. We'll be departing from runway 17 right here at Santiago, and we'll continue on a southerly direction, skirting the Pacific coastline here in Chile, before routing in the direction of the South Atlantic over the deserts of southern Argentina. Of course, the biggest challenge flying in and out of Santiago is the high terrain on either side of the airport and of course the city itself. Most commercial aircraft departing to the south but heading towards other South American cities such as Buenos Aires, Sao Paulo or Rio de Janeiro have to take a slightly extended departure heading approximately 100 miles south, gaining enough altitude before turning east and crossing the Andes. However, as you can see, there are no such restrictions for our flight south to Punta Arenas. Right, it's time to jump back into the cockpit of this Aerosoft Airbus A320 in the livery of Lan Chile, or should I say the old livery of Lan Chile. The airline of course has been branded as LATAM for some time now, but I really struggled to find livery for LATAM with a Chilean registration. Anyway, there still are a number of Airbus A320s still flying in this older Lan Chilean livery. So this is the Lan Chilean livery I've chosen for today's flight down to Punta Arenas and then Mount Pleasant.
Lan Chile 907 cleared to Punta Arenas Airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain altitude 14,000. Departure on 121.1, squawk 6535.
Hello, Captain. We're ready for pushback. Locking gear. Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted. Release parking brakes. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will. Set parking brakes. Unlocking gear. Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear.
Lan Chile 907 taxi, point 40, runway 17 right, via taxiway Papa, Hotel, Zulu Victor. Contact tower on 118.1 when ready.
As per normal practice in these videos, as I taxi out to runway 17 right here at Santiago, it's time to tell you a little bit about the scenery that I've got installed here in prepared 3D version 4.5. What you're seeing here is LatinVFR's version of Santiago International Airport here in Chile. It's a really good representation of this relatively large international airport with its two parallel runways. A few minutes ago I talked about the high terrain on either side of the airport, and it's this terrain that makes Santiago such a challenging airport to fly in and out of. Because the city and therefore the airport sits in a valley, the area is frequently subject to mist and fog. Add that to the extremely high terrain on either side of the airport. Santiago is a very challenging airport to land at certain times of the year, and that's why I love it so much. I probably should purchase more scenery for South America rather than sticking to the usual long haul flights in and out of this region, including the odd medium haul flights that I've taken here in Prepared between Santiago, Buenos Aires, Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro. Right, it's time for me to shut up as we approach the threshold of runway 17 right here at Santiago, into the sky and en route to Punta Arenas on this two-part journey down to Mount Pleasant in the Falklands.
Santiago Tower, Lan Chile, Niner 7, ready to go. Runway 17 right, IFR to Punta Arenas. Lan Chile, Niner 7, cleared for takeoff. Runway 17 right, service with 137.5.
After we reached our cruising altitude of flight level 350 or 35,000 feet, there was really nothing else to do but sit back, relax and enjoy the scenery on the way down to Punta Arenas. As we cruised over southern Chile, the only thing of note was off the right hand side of our aircraft, and that of course being the Pacific Ocean. Of course, on this flight from Santiago down to the Falkland Islands, we will be seeing both of the major oceans, the Pacific and then the Atlantic. And less than an hour later, we'd be flying over the arid desert of southern Argentina. From the Pacific Ocean to the snow-capped mountains of the southern Andes and of course the deserts of southern Argentina just added to make this a very interesting flight over a very remote part of the world. And I can only imagine that this is a region that very few in Flight Simulator ever venture. Crossing the deserts of southern Argentina, it wasn't long until we reached our top of descent. The weather turned much more northern European as we reached the southern part of South America. Despite January being the height of summer in this part of the world, Punta Arenas was only showing a temperature of plus 9 degrees Celsius. And talking about Punta Arenas, I've purchased no payware scenery for the airport. I don't even think any exists. So what you're going to see on arrival is pretty basic stock scenery from what would have been FSX back in the day, and this scenery was therefore ported over to Prepared after Lockheed Martin purchased the rights to this simulator. Okay, back to today's flight. As we approach Punta Arenas from the north, we're going to be vectored on an ILS approach to runway 25, and as a result I'm not expecting any dramas.
Runway 25, Lan Chile, Niner 7.
Approaching 25.
400. 100 above, 300, minimum 100, 100, 50, 40, 30, retard, retard.
Welcome to Punta Arenas in southern Chile. The plan here is to make a fairly quick turnaround and be on our way again to Mount Pleasant in the Falkland Islands as soon as possible. First, we're going to back taxi to the airport terminal, and as I said earlier, this is going to be a very basic representation to the terminal at Punta Arenas. And this is where I have to admit, watching the videos produced by the real Airbus pilot in X-Plane, the stock airports in X-Plane look an awful lot better than what we have in Prepared. But I suppose at the time of recording this video, it's been well over 12 years since FSX was released. So I suppose, what do you expect from an old piece of software? Despite Lockheed Martin doing their best to bring it up to speed with a 64-bit upgrade several years ago. Anyway, I'm going to bring this video to a close very shortly, and the continuation of this flight to Mount Pleasant in the Falkland Islands will be contained in the next episode. So if you don't want to miss the next episode here on Sim Sunday, you know what to do. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.